All right, Yahoo Fantasy Baseball Week 16 Quick Take. Got a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right into it. First off, in Week 16, action twice as nice. Knocked off the Androids 9-0-1 to remain undefeated. Androids in the last 3 weeks is now 3-24-3. For twice as nice, 6 players hit homers, including Aramis Ramirez, who hit 4 homers and had 10 RBIs this week. Also adding to the offensive onslaught was Aubrey Huff with 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and a .400 average. For Androids, struggles on offense and in pitching. Alex Gordon for the offense had an .091 average for the week, and Ubaldo Jimenez, who has been the best pitcher in baseball at many times in this season, had a 12.27 ERA this week. Javier Vasquez also threw in a 9 ERA for Androids. On the pitching side for twice as nice, 14 pitchers were used this week, 7 of those picked up victories, and 6 pitchers had an ERA of 0. In other action, Otis and the Drunks knocks off Jimmy Dugan in a pivotal matchup 6-4. Otis, only 2 losses in the last 11 weeks. For Dugan, only 1 win in the last 6 weeks, as these teams are going opposite directions in the standings. Otis took 3 out of 5 on offense and in pitching. Otis had 7 players hit homers, 3 players hit 2 home runs each. Mark Teixeira led the way with 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 10 runs, and a .435 average. For Jimmy Dugan, 3 players on offense had 2 homers each. Jose Bautista had 2 homers and 9 RBIs. The best average of the season for Jimmy Dugan's squad, a .297 average for the team. That was helped out by Austin Jackson's .444 average for the week. On the pitching side, Jimmy Dugan had John Axford's 1 win and 3 saves. The rest of the team managed just 1 win and no saves. And Otis and the Drunks used 5 wins to overcome Freddie Garcia's disastrous 33.75 ERA and 6.75 whip to be victorious on the pitching side as well. Also in action, AZ Padres knocked off the Metropolitans 6-3-1. This is the 5th straight win for AZ Padres. Took 4 out of 5 in pitching, and offense was a 2-2-1 split. For AZ Padres, 5 players hit under 200 this week. Juan Pierre had 2 stolen bases, but hit .095. On the good side, though, Adrian Beltre had 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and a .379 average. For Mets, 6 players hit over 300 this week. Leading the way was Ian Stewart with 3 homers. The rest of the team, though, just 3 homers combined. Also a bright spot on that side of the ball, Nyjer Morgan for Metropolitans had 4 stolen bases and a .320 average. On the pitching side, AZ Padres, 7 pitchers with a 0 ERA. Just 2 wins, though, and no Josh Johnson this week. Metropolitans had 4 wins, 3 pitchers, though, with an ERA over 4, including Phil Hughes, who had a win and a 7.84 ERA for the week. Also in action, Tucson's Prettiest continues to right the ship, knocking off Waveland and Sheffield 7-3. For TP, this was their 5th straight win, and Waveland, no wins in the last 5 weeks. 6 very tight battles, though. Waveland and Sheffield took 3 of 5 on offense, but TP swept pitching 5-0. On the offensive side, Mark Reynolds for Tucson's Prettiest had 3 homers. The rest of the team just 3 homers combined, and .208 average for Reynolds this week to go with those homers. Waveland and Sheffield had 1 player manage to hit over 300 this week. The bottom feeder for the offense was Miguel Olivo, who had a .067 average. For Tucson's Prettiest on the pitching side, 5 wins, 4 pitchers with an ERA of 0. 7 pitchers had an ERA under 1.5. Leading the way was Daisuke Matsuzaka with a win and 10 Ks. Waveland and Sheffield had no wins and 3 pitchers with an ERA over 7. Jose Valverde picked up 2 saves and 10 Ks out of the bullpen for Waveland, but also had a 7.2 ERA. In other action, the Grassy Knoll knocked off Derek Low equals Cheater 8-2. Knoll has now won 9 straight weeks, while Cheater finishes off the 2010 matchups against Knoll 4-15-1 in 2 battles. Knoll swept offense and then took 3 out of 5 in pitching. On the offensive side, Knoll had 6 players hit homers, 11 players had an RBI or more this week, and Miguel Cabrera led the way with 2 homers, 9 RBIs, and a .500 average. For Cheater, just 8 players were used on the offensive side, nobody of note doing anything interesting. On the pitching side, though, Cheater took ERA and whip On the heels of Jair Jurgen's win and 13 Ks, 4 pitchers for Cheater had a 0 ERA. Knoll tried to bounce back, though, and respectably did so, with Madison Bumgarner picking up 2 wins from him, 10 Ks, and a 2.13 ERA. And then Brian Wilson out of the bullpen for Knoll had 4 saves, a 0 ERA, and an 0.92 whip. Also in action, Hunt 1981 knocked off Bronx Bombers 8-1. This ends a 3-week losing streak for Hunt, while Bronx has now lost 8 straight weeks, finishing 3-16-1 in 2 matchups versus Hunt this season. Hunt won the offensive side 4-0-1 and took pitching 4-1. Offense was very tight, though. Hunt had Richie Weeks for 3 homers and 7 RBIs, and then David Wright, unfortunately not contributing this week, 1 RBI only, and a 172 average. For Bronx Bombers, the only offensive bright spot was Derek Jeter, the only player on the team to hit over 300 for the week. On the pitching side, Bombers picked up 2 saves from Kevin Gregg, who chipped in a 6.75 ERA, but still managed to help Bombers win the saves category. Bombers, though, 7 pitchers on the staff had an ERA of 4.5 or higher, while Hunt had 4 winning pitchers this week. All of those pitchers had a 0 ERA. In other action, Greek Thunder knocked off Woodilas 6-4. This was Greek's 3rd straight win, matches their longest winning streak of the season. For Woodilas, this is the 6th straight loss for that team, going 13-45-2 in those 6 losses. Greek took 4 out of 5 on the offensive side, and Woodilla took 3 out of 5 in pitching. On offense, Greek had 7 players hit homers. Joey Votto and Giovanni Soto each had 3. Also interesting, Chris Young picked up 4 stolen bases. Ryan Terrio and Starlin Castro both hit over 400. And Nelson Cruz, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and a 400 average. For Woodilas, just 6 players were used on the offensive side, not competitive at all. However, was competitive on the pitching side, with Wandy Rodriguez leading the way with 2 wins and 9 Ks. For Greek Thunder, though, 4 pitchers had an ERA of 0. Johnny Cueto had 2 wins, 10 Ks, and a 1.29 ERA. Naftali Feliz out of the bullpen for Greek, 4 saves, and an 0.82 whip. And wrapping up the games this week, Lucky knocks off Koufax's Revenge 6-3-1. This was Lucky's 2nd win of the season only, ending a 9-week winless streak, avenging a Week 1 loss to the same team. For Koufax, this ends a 3-week winning streak. Lucky swept offense 5-0. Koufax took pitching 3-1-1. On the offensive side, Lucky, 7 of the 9 players used hit a homer this week. Leading the way was Michael Young with 3 homers and 7 runs, and Scott Posednik with 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 4 runs, 4 stolen bases, and a 393 average. For Koufax, just 1 player managed to hit over 280 this week. 6 players hit under 200. On the pitching side, though, Koufax had 5 pitchers with an ERA of 0, 4 pitchers with a whip of under 1. Roy Halladay led the way with a win, 9 Ks, and a 0 ERA. Lucky, the season worst whip of the season for any team posted. 2.03 whip as a squad this week. Chad Qualls was probably most to blame. Only 1K, a 9.82 ERA, and a 2.73 whip out of the bullpen for Lucky. Now we're looking to Week 17 action. Twice as nice. 10 up in first place is going to be taking on Metropolitans in Week 17. Mets is just 5 games out of 6th. Jimmy Dugan, a half game out of 6th place, is going to be taking on Tucson's Prettiest, perhaps the hottest team in the league, with a 3.5 cushion out of 6th place right now for Tucson's Prettiest. Grassy Knoll is 10 games out of first place, sitting in 2nd, going to be taking on 14th place Lucky. 3rd place Greek Thunder is going to take on Derek Loicos Cheater. Cheater's just half a game out of that final postseason spot, 12th place. Hunt 1981, 2.5 games out of 3rd place, sitting 4th right now, going to take on last place Woodilas. Otis and the Drunks, 6th place by just half a game, going to take on Androids, 12th place by just half a game. Waveland and Sheffield, 4 games out of 6th place, going to be taking on 11th place Koufax's Revenge. And AZ Padres, a game and a half out of 4th place, sitting 5th right now, is going to be playing 15th place Bombers. So we'll hope to see you back next week, Week 17 Quick Take. This is Eric, out.